Alright, so in this video, I'm going to talk about everything you need to consider before going to uni, because my own personal uni experience was like nothing I would have ever expected. And I thought, you know what, behind closed doors, I've been talking to a couple people and they've been going through some stuff which I also went through myself, or been going through, should I say. So I thought, well, let me come up with a solution and guide to help people. I'm literally going to go through both the pros and the cons and everything else you need to consider, because to be honest, there is a lot to uni which people don't seem to talk about. Obviously you see the side which people do mention, but there's also the other side which not a lot of people actually talk about. So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. Alright, so let me start with the preparation for uni. Now, I came here so unprepared. In terms of your shopping list, I'm going to go step by step of things you need. Alright, so the first one is pots and pans. Obviously, I'm just going to say everything which people may or may not know, but I'm just going to put everything in this video. So yeah, pots and pans. Like you see when going to buy your pots and pans, make sure you got at least 2 of each, because truthfully speaking, anything could happen. It could be a day where you go to the kitchen, pick out your pot handle just breaks. And if you only had 1 pot of that type, then what you would have made is just going down the drain now because you can't make it. So just to avoid any type of problems, have at least 2 pots of the same type and you'll be good. Alright, number 2, cutlery. Obviously, make sure you got everything you need. Simple sets of everything, you know, standard stuff. Don't really need to speak too much on that. Number 3, plates and containers. Like again, you don't need a lot. Just make sure that you got enough. So if you were to invite people around, you've got enough plates and containers for them. Everyone can just eat at the same time and enjoy their food. Alright, number 4 is sponges, cleaning wipes, and any other things to wipe down surfaces. Literally just for cleaning up. I hope that most people watching have these things at home. And if you don't, I'm really wondering why. Yeah, I gotta add in, some people would say get an air fryer too. And me personally, I haven't ever used one. I've always cooked my food manually, so I can't really speak too much on that. But from what I've heard, they're somewhat decent. So if you haven't got one, that's probably another thing which you should probably look into. Alright, so moving on to bedroom accessories now. These are just some things you need for your spot. Alright, number 1, some kind of portable heater, just in case the heating in your room doesn't actually function properly. Now this is more so for winter. Obviously it's not going to be summer. When you start uni, it will be warm, then it will get cold very quick. Like you'll see the temperature drop. If it's like 1 AM and you don't have a heater and you're still awake for whatever reason, there's nothing else you can do. With me, I like sleeping naked, so obviously I'm not gonna wear clothes to bed. So for me to get on my bed, let's say go toilet in the middle of the night, it was so cold. Every time I tried using the heater, it just wouldn't work. Like nothing would come on. Maybe come on for like 30 seconds and then just turn off. So it was until I got an actual heater myself to warm the room up, that's when I could just walk around naked. Alright, so the second one is wash pods for your clothes. Third one is bleach and any other disinfectant. 4th is bug spray. The 5th one is tissues and wipes. The 6th one is snacks and any other non-fridge foods which can sit on your shelf. Now this one goes without saying, but your little munchies, any crisps, any biscuits, literally just sit up there, have them whenever you want. And then 7, this one is kind of optional. This is just if you've got enough space for a clothesline, then maybe invest in one, because if you're coming to uni, you gotta pay for your washing and your drying. There's a little system you gotta use. It might be an app on your phone or something else at different unis, which I'm not sure about. But mine was an app on my phone, which you have to put money on to pay for a wash and also to pay for dry. Number 8, you got your own essentials for the shower. You know yourself the items you use. I ain't gotta say too much about that. Number 10, obviously your pillows and duvet. You gotta make sure it's comfy. Well, you don't have to be fair, but I assume everyone would want a comfy, nice duvet and pillows. And then 11, toothpaste, toothbrush, all those other essentials. You know these things already. I'm just saying it for the video, so I've said everything because I'm including everything in this video. Alright, so now I'm gonna do the pros and cons of uni, because I've taken time to actually assess everything and make notes. Alright, so the first pro to uni is living alone if you don't commute. If you do commute, it could be slightly different. but I'd say living alone has to be the best thing about uni. The fact that you ain't got no one in your ear telling you what needs to be done, when you need to do things, what time you need to do things. You could literally go places. You could go anywhere you want, anytime you want, do whatever you want, and no one's gonna stop you. Like you see at home, yeah, some people, they could have had certain restrictions, like they had to be back at a certain time, or they had to do something at a certain time every day, this and that. At uni, when you live alone, none of that is the case. And me, I like my own space anyway, so just not having people in my ear, it was great. Like you see, for the first couple days, it doesn't actually seem real. Eventually you settle into it. You'll either realize, damn, I like it here better, or damn, this is way worse than at home. Right, so the second pro is uni matures you as a person and makes you start doing stuff which you probably wouldn't have at home. Like at home, if we're all being honest, there was a couple things and there was a couple times where you could have done certain things, but you just didn't because you left it up to someone else. Whether that could have been your brother or sisters, your mom, your dad, whoever. You just let them do it because you know deep down, you didn't have to do it because they had it covered. Like you could even say stuff like cooking. Before uni, I know a lot of people who never even turned on the pan. And honestly, I was the same way. Alright, so the third pro to uni is it'll get you out your comfort zone and make you do things which you wouldn't have done or would have done a lot less when you were living at home. Like imagine this, I was 18 way before I went to uni and I only touched the clubs for the first time in uni because before I had no incentive to go. Before it would have been a thing where I went out my own way just to go clubs. That was not an interest of mine. Freshers, it was just a clubbing scene. So in that sense, I kind of got dragged out. If you've never been clubbing before, the first time you go clubbing, you gotta be slightly licked, I'll be real. Me, I wasn't licked at all. Pulled up at my first club, I was sober and it wasn't even intentional. We weren't even meant to go to the club that day, we just did. I don't know how I ended up there, but first time, sober, it was dead for maybe the first hour. Then I started to drink there, and then that's where the mood started kicking in. If I didn't do that, I would have thought it was so dry. And truthfully, if you got to drink to have fun, then you really got to ask yourself, are you having fun? So that's basically all the pros I've got, I'll be honest. So moving on to the cons now. Number one for the cons would be your focus. Now, if you think for a second that you're gonna come to uni and your focus is gonna be the same as it was before uni, you got a sad thing coming. I'll be so real. Like, no matter who you are, yeah, you can try, but for the first maybe month, 2 months of uni, you'll try to attend every single lecture possible. But I promise you, after all the events, after all the drinking, after all the partying, there is going to be lessons missed. I'll be so real, whether you like it or not. Now, I'm not saying to just completely lose yourself. Obviously, try keeping track. But the first month or two, nah, that's when it's peak. The very start of uni, you'll see the most amount of people because that's when people are the most serious, I'll be so honest. Yeah, so the second con is unnecessary money will be spent, whether that be at the club, social events, even just going out. It could be before the clubs, anything really. If you're going out, regardless, money is being spent. It could even be on Ubers. A simple Uber there, Uber back, money spent. Now you see at uni, you at least want to make some good habits now, which you can carry for the rest of your life. Alright, the third con is, this is something no one will actually talk about, and I haven't seen anyone mention this on socials for some reason, but there will be a point of uni where you really start thinking negatively about a lot of things. Like, you'll start asking yourself, is this really what I want to do? Like, is this really worth it? Could be late at night, could be early in the morning, could be afternoon. There'll just be a random point where you sit and think, like, damn, what am I here for? Like, you see, before uni, I didn't properly deep the mental health thing because in school, people used to say that and used to just brush it like, what are you talking about? But in uni, that's when I properly seen that some people, they'll put on a good face, they're actually just losing it behind closed doors. And you won't even know, because you think that because they're putting on a smile and they're going out smiling, that they're actually having fun and enjoying themselves. Behind closed doors, they're just breaking down, and it's just sad to see. So in uni, yeah, this will happen. And behind closed doors, people probably talk about this all the time, but on socials, I ain't seen this being mentioned or brought up, which is kind of weird, but it's what it is. I've realized that you could be going through something. No one is actually alone in terms of the things they're going through. There's people who are going through the same things you're going through, if not worse, innit? So thinking that you can't chat to anyone is just false. Always try to find good people you can chat to, because at the end of the day, they are pretty rare. Like, this is when I realized that you actually have to have some kind of good distraction from everything. Something you can work towards or just put your mind to, which could possibly generate something better for you in the future. So my thing would be editing, YouTube, gym, things like that, in terms of self-improvement. Because I feel like low-key, that's the journey I'm on right now, just trying to be better. So the sooner you can find something which you can put your focus in, honestly, you gotta try and find this thing as soon as possible. Alright, the last con to uni, like I said before with the food thing, is since technically you're gonna have to cook for yourself, you have no one to rely on. So I know some people might struggle to be independent in a way. So now being at uni, it's gonna make the barrier a lot higher in terms of things which you just have to do. But yeah, that's basically just the whole guide done now. It's been your way Dan Links, aka D-Star. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, like, subscribe, share the video. Come on.